It'd be one thing if the Democrats actually was like a left party and they really like fought for left ideas. They don't fucking do that. They capitulate every time that they can to appease their donors so that they don't get, piss them off and lose funding. More and more, I'm beginning to think that the donors, it's not necessarily that the Democrats themselves want to lose, but I think, although some of them might, but I think it's that the donors pay them and they kind of hold their feet to the fire in certain positions, which destine them to lose because they're just losing positions, but they don't want to upset the donors and lose the funding. And so then they have to hold weak positions and look extremely hypocritical all the time, which inevitably leads them to losing. I sound like I'm fucking slurring, which inevitably leads them to losing. And the donors are okay with that, because the Republicans will give even more benefits in their pocket. Meanwhile, the Democrats will still give them some benefits. It just won't be as good as the Republicans in terms of the corporate welfare and the bailouts and all that. So I don't know. We don't have an opposition party. We just need an opposition party. But I don't think a third party just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I love the idea of it. I really do. But it's just, there's too many institutional biases against a third party at the moment. And so we kind of just have to take over the Democratic Party. And the truth is that there are plenty of people in the Democratic Party who, if you showed them that these ideas are successful and popular, and they didn't come from an old Jewish man, which apparently just was the wrong package for people, which I think is stupid that matters at all, but it does. You get it in a young woman saying the same shit like AOC, and all of a sudden, yes, queen, yes, slay queen, yes. Like, when you get that shit, okay, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm more principled than that. I'm not going to look at just the aesthetics. I don't care. I care about your policy ideas. I love Bernie and I love what he represents, but like, really, I loved Bernie's ideas. I love Bernie's policies. I mean, ultimately, he's not a cult leader. I think it's really dumb when people try to like compare people who support him to Trump, because people don't defend Bernie because he's just Bernie. People defend Bernie because he's principled and he's been consistent on specific issues that we all agree on. It's way different than people who defend Trump no matter what the fuck he does. Like, it's different. And you might have some people that are to like, the left-wing equivalent, but even so, the left-wing equivalent is for healthcare. It's for ending wars. It's, it's just not the same thing. It's not, close the borders, build a wall. It's just a false equivalency. It's just not the same. It's the horseshoe theory. It just, to me, it's just an attempt to discredit the movement from people who stand to lose something by us gaining power. It just is what it is. I think it's important for us to make sure that we more intensely go for means of actually acquiring true power in government, and doing it in a way that does not forfeit our values, does not forfeit what we stand for, but does it aggressively. I listen to Michael Brooks sometimes, and he talks about needing to have this spiritual Machiavellian attitude towards things, and I think it's really, I think it's true. I think you have to play the political game. I think when you have the ideas on your side, it's actually even easier. And although, it's important, we got to be principled, right? We got to be principled, but you got to be able to play the politic game. You got to be able to beat them at their own game, because the thing is, they're hypocrites. And all you have to do is disingenuously, spit the same shit at them, but you have the right ideas on your side and you actually stand for something, which is going to make them look even dumber. So I want to see more of that. And that doesn't mean being aggressive and angry. It just means turning some shit on their heads. Oh yeah, Medicare for all who want it. Okay, that's great. What should we do for the 10 million people who just filed for unemployment? They don't have an answer for that. The truth is, they literally don't have an answer for that. And so they're going to pivot. They're going to tone police. They're going to do shit that's just disingenuous. And so you have to play the games with them. You have to play some of their dirty games, while maintaining your principles and while maintaining the actual ideals that you hold and the ideas that you have and the policies that you are advocating for. As long as you're not losing the moral integrity of those policies, I've got no problem with you playing some dirty politics. I really don't. I think at the end of the day, they're playing a really dirty game, and they're doing it in a way that just for people who just aren't paying that much attention they're going to fall for it. And they're not dumb people. Like, there's just too much shit to pay attention to. These are smart people who just like, maybe politics isn't their thing. And so they're just not paying that much attention. And it's not their fault that the news isn't properly informing them. You know what I mean? Like, the news is exactly designed to be, basically a stenographer for power. That's literally what it is. Like, if a powerful person says something to them, because they still want access to that powerful person, they're just going to say it and repeat it, and they're barely going to push back on it. And we've seen this time and time again. I mean, we saw this with Hillary Clinton. She was fed questions for the CNN debate. And we saw that we've been seeing this with Joe Biden. They never mentioned anything about the Tara Reid scandal where she was sexually assaulted by Biden. She was literally like, like, I'm talking like actual assaulted, like physically touching the vagina, all that. I don't really want to get into that. I highly recommend you guys look up those allegations, and you can kind of make the judgment for yourself. But to me, it seems very credible. And you're just never going to see mainstream media do any of that shit. And so when a lot of people who are too busy to really pay attention, to really do the investigation, who maybe don't know about the online left-wing political commentators that do exist and that do have decent platforms, but still not big enough yet to make a dent, you can't blame the voters. It's not the voters' fault. It's the media's fault for not properly educating them and not properly pushing. They want access. They buried the story of Epstein because they didn't want to lose access to the crown, and they didn't want to lose access to Hillary Clinton. And these are things that they make these calculations all the time. So you just have to be mindful that that these media powers are going to defend themselves, and these corporate structures are going to defend themselves, and the corporate structures have power over the media because they are the ones who fund the media's advertisements, which keep the lights on. And so it's not that the media people or the reporters are inherently evil or bad. They're just playing the game, and they don't want to lose their funding. It's a self-interested thing. And they need to hold power accountable more. They do, and we need to hold them accountable for holding them accountable. But you got to understand the game that is being played, and you got to understand the power dynamics and who are the power players and who's got influence. And we need to put pressure on the people who have influence, and we just need to do it more strategically. And we've gotten closer in this election more than ever to accomplishing those things. And I think it is actually a really good sign for the future. It's frustrating it didn't happen this time. It would have been great to have gotten President Bernie Sanders in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, talk about the most perfect president for the moment, right? We're talking FDR coming around just in time for the Great Depression, right? That's what this is. Unfortunately, instead of choosing FDR, our people chose senile, creepy Joe, And it's unfortunate. I mean, he's literally just not the candidate for this moment. He's just not. He's a manager. He's not a fix a severely broken system. The system that, by the way, was broken before the pandemic. The pandemic just putting a flashlight on all of that. So I think this is a moment for us to reinvent this country. And although there are probably not enough good people in power to do it on the legislative scale, we can eventually, but we can start putting pressure in the labor side of things. I think it is important for us to focus on strikes. Like it or not, us staying home has showed us that we have all the power, dude. Guess who's an essential worker? You know what I mean? Guess who's actually the most important fabric of our society? It's the people that we barely pay fucking shit to. So knowing that is the power we have. If we just don't go to work, guess who's not getting paid their millions and billions of dollars? The fucking 1%. And so that's why they're like trying to get us to sacrifice ourselves for their fucking stock price. Like, just go back to work. It's fine that there's a virus. Risk your life. They're doing it because they want to, they want you to make the sacrifice for them. They don't give a fuck. You know, that one dude who was quarantining on a yacht and then had a drone shot of the yacht and he posted it to Instagram or whatever. Like, fuck, dude. It's so out of touch, dude. That's so out of touch. And then the fucking, I know everybody's already talked about it, but the Imagine video, like, and I like some people in that video, you know, it's nothing personal to them, but it's like, dude, just tone deaf. You're a celebrity. You're hanging out in a mansion. Unless you're physically doing something for people, just sit in your mansion, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and if you have something substantial to bring to the conversation of policy, even if you're a millionaire, then yes, by all means, then your voice is important. Your voice is important if what you're saying is important. But if what you're saying is just like you're singing a song in your mansion and you're quarantining in paradise, like, I'm sorry, it's just know that doesn't come across well in a country where wealth inequality is so high, you know? But I guess these people live in bubbles. They just don't know. I don't think they're bad people for doing the video. You know, I just think it's tone deaf. It's just tone deaf.